Hello and welcome back. This is the third video in the more advanced WK series. So far, everything has been pretty standard as far as key chords goes, prefixes, commands, etc. Really nothing is setting with WK too far apart from any other instance of key chords. Um, but that's going to change with this, and for most of the videos here on out, is really what makes WK different. And so we're going to start with what I'm calling chord arrays. Um, and these are essentially the idea behind a chord array is you're going to have some type of command that's very similar to a bunch of other commands you're going to want to run or bind, and the only difference is in the trigger key. Everything else is sort of similar. Um, and so instead of repeating yourself a lot, I've tried to include this syntax here so that you can cut down on that and just get to simplifying things and uh, getting what you want done. So we've got here an example in the documentation for chord arrays, or actually maybe I'm jumping a little bit ahead. So a chord array, instead of starting with a trigger key, is going to start out with a opening brace or opening bracket, and then one or more trigger keys or a chord expression. I'll get to those a little bit later, and then ended by an opening bracket. Then you've got the description, keyword, command series there as well. And so we've got a pretty good example of just that down here. And so we're going to go ahead and copy that. Oh, a little too much there. This wants to be finicky. We're going to go ahead and copy that and just take a look. And so before, you always want to make sure you know what commands you're running. So we're taking a look in the command, and we can see it's running xdo tool, set desktop, and then it's got this index thing. I'm not sure what that's about, but we'll take a look there in just a second. So let's go ahead and take a look here. We'll actually just give that, comment out the risk of this, and we're looking good. Okay, so we've got here all the trigger keys. You'll notice there's no spaces between them, and that's because WK parses these as a UTF-8 character. So you don't have to give an extra space except for special characters, because those are multiple characters long. It doesn't really know when to stop parsing. You do need to say if you were going to give a space. That would just be interpreted as S, P, and C. If I don't give a space, so around that you can see SPC, but if I do give a space, which is required, then you'll see now it's just space. It recognizes it correctly. So that's the one interesting thing. I probably should have mentioned that about special characters at some point previously, but it really only comes up in a chord array where you're going to need that space. It'd be weird if you did space or space description or whatever. That's not common. So we've got our trigger keys here. You can also give it's same trigger key syntax, so you can give modifiers. That'll be just fine. It'll be interpreted properly, so you can see it's only control, hyper, and R that have the modifiers. None of the other keys got affected. And so there's that. The interesting portion, you're thinking, well, okay, I've got all these trigger keys, but aren't the description and the command going to be the exact same? Like, how do I, actually get these trigger keys to do different things? And that really comes in with the interpolations, which I haven't covered at all. And that would be, for at least this example, I'll get into them in another video, but for this example, that'll be the percent opening parenthesis, index plus 1 and closing parenthesis. And then the same thing over here for just index. And all you really need to know at this point is that the interpolations are going to give you access through these identifiers like index plus 1 or index to some metadata about the individual key chord. And that's going to be A, R, S, T, G, M. It's not going to be for the entire chord array. It's for that individual one that it's being used for. And so we don't really want to switch examples. We'll just do some echoing or whatever here. And so we'll change that. And if we see now, we can see A is 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. And that's because of the index plus 1. It's going to take that trigger key, and it's got the index of it was the first one. But arrays and everything, unless we're dealing with like Lua or something like that, is going to be indexed by starting with 0. So for plus 1, it's going to give you a 1 base index. And then say I enter A, you can see I get the actual 0 based index for that interpolation. But that's basically what chord arrays are. With moving the desktop and everything, that's actually a more useful example. I actually use that in my own personal key chords. So I've got no, that's not that client tag. Yeah, so I've got that. I can move clients around with mine. Yeah, if you can script it, DWM has got a patch that makes it scriptable. You can interact with it, which is cool, to move clients around and whatever. And so you can do that with that, or XDo tool or YDo tool or whatever you're using. But as far as use cases go, I don't have a ton of chord arrays in my personal config, but when I do have them, I appreciate that they are there, because it minimizes, instead of doing, this entire thing, which really doesn't differ very much. I'm just able to give this, and it produces all the key chords that I need. I won't make a separate video where what's time are we at? 8 minutes. I won't make a separate video. I'll just go into chord expressions here. So I've only given trigger keys, but you can actually do chord expressions, which are a way to give, say you've got one trigger key that's mostly like the rest, but a little bit unique. The example I give has more to do with like opening programs and stuff in the documentation, but let's just say G was special. We can give within the brackets, we can give opening parentheses, the trigger key, and then all that's required, you don't have to give a full key chord. You just need the description. So we can give the trigger key and then special description or whatever. And then when I run this, it'll have that special description, but you'll see it echoes 4. So it's still using this command here. The chord expression, still using that command. And so it'll use, there's some other things that you can give, some other metadata, stuff that goes after that, that you can give, and whatever is missing from the chord expression here will be pulled in from the surrounding chord array. So you just need the trigger key and the description, but I could give a command if I wanted, so I could give echo special. And if I were to do that, G, and then so yeah, just echo special there. So yeah, that is this. We're under 10 minutes, so I'm going to cut it off there. that's chord arrays. I've got some more detailed examples there, and in the examples here. Well, I guess that one's pretty much the same. But yeah, that'll do it for me. Appreciate your time and hope to see you in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.